Hello, welcome to iFunnel. This is Mitch Smith, and I hope you like my snazzy new intro. Today, I thought I'd make a video breaking down some of the basics about iFunnel. First of all, what it does for you as a mortgage loan originator, broker, lender, bank. And second, how you go about choosing the right package. I've had a lot of questions about that, and I thought that I would break that down and make it a little, maybe explain it a little bit more simple terms. And what you can expect after sign up. I'll go over a project and kind of show you the basics of kind of how we get the ball rolling on a new project and what you can expect as far as timelines and other expectations and whatnot. And so first, what does iFunnel do for you? And in order to understand that, it's important to understand this. This is basically how people go about making a decision in 2018. And not only in regard to the home buying process, which is specifically what we're talking about here, but more so actually in almost all areas of life and Western society. If we don't have the information that we need to make a decision, then either we have the information we need, we can get the information from a trustworthy source, maybe from a friend or from a website that we trust, or that allows us to trust through testimonials and whatnot, or use a search engine to get the information. And so while mortgage loan origination or mortgage loan lead generation may feel like a more complicated process now than in the past, it's actually, in some regards, if you look at it the right way, it's almost it's at least less traffic sources that you have to deal with. So you basically are understanding that people are using search engines to find you, and by understanding how they're looking, you can position yourself strategically to have as much real estate visibility in the specific places that people are looking. And by understanding that, you can position yourself strategically and in a way that engages the traffic in a relevant conversation whenever they come to your page. So that is kind of the name of the game here. So what iFunnel is doing is essentially providing you with a foundation to start to capture and take advantage of the search engine traffic that's happening. And if we go to this page, this starts to kind of maybe put this in a little bit better perspective. I just happen to live in Oklahoma City, but this isn't usually how people will go about looking. But just for example's sake, if we look for mortgage Oklahoma City, we have paid traffic. So these are going to be paid PPC ads up here. And then we have our local Google My Business listings here. And here, you can see there are testimonials. You can see the ratings, reviews, a website. There's directions. Now, you don't have to have an address on here. So some people, who maybe work from a home office, they don't want listed. It's ideal to have an address because it kind of plays into this name, address, phone number, website consistency that's considered whenever the rankings are essentially calculated for Google and for Bing. And so the name, address, phone number, website consistency is important here. And then we have our organic search results here. Now, in order to understand this, it's also important to understand that almost 30% of people these days are using ad blockers. So what that means is there are no ads that will be displayed to their viewing at all. So not only are PPC ads very expensive, and they're it can be very difficult to compete with a lot of the bigger banks and brokers that are running very competitive campaigns, but that money that they're spending on those campaigns is essentially worthless to people who are using ad blockers, which is almost a third of people now. And as privacy concerns and technology continue to increase, those numbers will only continue to increase. And so it won't be long before we see half of people using ad blockers. So just keep that in mind as you start to consider advertising and what kind of role that has in your business. Advertising is obviously one of the best ways to pay for traffic to come directly to your landing pages and to your website, but it's also not effective for people who use ad blockers. So just consider that. Now, this isn't generally how people search. This is a very basic, keyword search here. It doesn't really show much of an intent. It shows that I'm looking for a mortgage in Oklahoma City, but usually people will search for something a little different than this. Something like this, 15-year, 30-year mortgage comparison, something like this would be more realistic for the way people would go about searching. Now here you'll start to see that it's mostly just organic search results. And so kind of the name of the game to this whole thing is understand that there's really only paid placement, there's local SEO that's happening, that your local ads, and then you have your organic content on a search engine. That's it. Search engines are how people are getting their information, and those are really the three ways that you're going to get shown to people who are actively making this intent to make a search. There's other ways that you can be placed in front of people through Google and through other means, but the thing about those strategies are that people are not specifically showing intent right now to get the information, and most people don't spend longer than they have to looking for a mortgage. So you have a very small window of opportunity to catch the attention of these folks. So now this kind of ties into how you pick the right iFunnel package, because first of all, I've kind of changed some of the details around here to make this make more sense. But essentially on Silver, we're just doing one landing page. You still get the Divi builder, which is going to be the builder used for here. It's just a very easy drag and drop setup. I set it up for you and provide some custom content. You have to kind of help me with some direction about where to get it from and kind of a basis to work with. But this is kind of the builder mode here, but it's just simple drag and drop stuff and mobile friendly and all that. But on the base package, we're just doing a single landing page. Now, why does that matter? It kind of comes down to this thing about content. You're not going to get a single page to rank on Google. So understanding that people are solving problems whenever they're making searches, you have to have content posted that is designed to provide resources to people. But if you have a substantial ad budget and for some reason you just want this to be kind of a streamlined deal, maybe you do reverse mortgages or specifically for some type of refinance type project, you can get just a single landing page done and pay for traffic through different Google means, and I can kind of help you with some of that. To drive traffic with paid ads and then go specifically to those pages. So the base package is really if you already have a website and you just need the form, the type form situation, which here if we exit this, we can see how this is set up. This isn't 100% complete, but it's getting there. And it kind of just goes through this simple process here. What's your name, first name, last name, and then it'll go through some more questions. But it's kind of a just clean presentation. People are much more inclined to fill something out like this through completion than they are with an old school form. And it makes sense when you think about it. It's the old school forms. I can't tell you how many times in the last year I've just dropped off when I start filling out one of those old school forms with the boxes. It feels like you're making a commitment. It's also kind of like just lame. And it's just a situation where, particularly if people are younger, your chances of having people actually fill out a form are going to skyrocket with this setup versus the other. But you still have to have the traffic. So really the silver package would be if you already have a website, or if you just want the single landing page and you're just utilizing the forms and the if you're just utilizing the form and the landing page, essentially. If you don't need the landing page, it would still be the same thing. This base package would be it. Now, this is not going to integrate with a custom CRM. I suppose if we wanted to customize it to do that, we just have to add on the cost, which is several $100s to get that set up, depending on your CRM and whatnot. But if it's a custom webhook integration, then that's about right. Now on your on the gold package here, if you need a website and you want some custom content included here, now I provide you with resources so that you can get a lot of things done for cheap. It's your website, you have access to it. I provide backups and things like that, but I provide you with resources to get things done. It's just important for you to understand how the search engine system works so that you can understand how to go about this content creation process and kind of have a framework upon which you can make high value content. So and by high value content, it needs to provide value to the specific clients that you're targeting with your website, your business, etc. And so so in a nutshell, the middle package, the gold here, is basically providing a full website with the option to do some ads, and also I'm throwing basically campaigns, offline lead gen strategies. I have realtor lead generation campaigns that I'm giving you. I don't generally set those up, but we can make special arrangements. And so this is like kind of a more turnkey site. For platinum, let's say you have a refinance site and for some reason you want these separate. You have like a refinance site, you have a reverse mortgage, and a something else. You could definitely do that on one site, but if for some reason your setup entails that you have multiple sites, then this would accommodate that. It's a little bit more content. There's more pages. Let's say you're copying content from another site that you already have to kind of migrate it over here. We can copy over some more content here. Your local SEO is done for you, and you get more directory listings with the platinum. It's also including webhooks. So any kind of integration with a custom CRM, as long as it's just a standard webhooks integration or Zapier enabled or anything like that, then this one will work. And then you have the chatbot, the multiple forms, and again, this would come down to like if you have different types of campaigns, like reverse mortgage campaign, a refinance campaign, you could essentially make that into one form, but it requires more clicks because at the very beginning, you're having to ask people what essentially what brings them there. Is a refinance or a reverse mortgage? And by eliminating that step, you can make the form more concise, and by having less questions, you can increase your conversion ratio and the amount of people that fill it out. And so anytime you can make the forms more concise, the better. Essentially, this is just more for you to kind of run with. The way that local SEO kind of works, it's this combination of consistency in your name, address, phone number, website, and your reviews too. So what this does is has 75 directory listings and 8 ratings, not reviews, but ratings on your Google My Business page. This has 30. The more high quality, the better. And so you're just going to be a little bit better off here. Now, I'm also providing you with resources so that you can hire some of the stuff out for pretty cheap. So if you want me to manage it, then the platinum is basically like kind of the best of both worlds. I'm taking care of all of your local SEO, doing more content, and this kind of just leaves less in your court to have to kind of figure out. And so that's kind of on all of these. I'm handling your analytics, your Google Analytics, your conversion setup, and all of that stuff, so we can basically track the performance of the campaigns and see where traffic's coming from, who's converting, where they came from, and where they're dropping off, etc. That stuff's super important to understand, kind of how people are interacting with your website in general. And so all of these have kind of different levels. This is obviously just more comprehensive, but hopefully that helps to help you understand kind of where this comes from. There's a PDF lead magnet. So if people aren't ready to fill out a form and contact you, but you have a PDF lead magnet, that gives them an opportunity to download it. It'd be like this free social media template I have on here. It's like maybe you're not ready to reach out, but you just want this freebie from me. So it kind of just works like that. Get it now. You give a name and an email address, and then the autoresponder variations are kind of the drip email campaigns that come after that. So that's kind of how that's set up. This is kind of designed to keep people interested to a point where you're staying in front of them, and then get them to come back and then engage with the conversation and become an actual lead. And so that is how you pick kind of between the different packages. This would be if you just want a comprehensive, you want to handle as least as possible, and you want me to handle as much as possible. The platinum would be. Gold is kind of just leaving a little bit more in your court. It's not really that complicated to figure out, but it is just more things kind of for you to have to do. But all of these will put you in a better position than you are without it. And kind of the thing about this is it's going to take a little while. Once you get the site set up, it's going to take a little while to get traction, unless you're creating YouTube videos, custom content, and you get in this, which I highly recommend, getting in this pattern of creating high value content for your ideal clients. It's going to take a while for search engines to start indexing this stuff. Now, they will index any videos that you make on YouTube, any of that stuff. We can link it all from your site. But it's going to take some time. So just kind of anticipate that. When I started this off, we were doing a 60-day money back guarantee. I was doing that to kind of get case studies built up, but now I have several clients going. So we're good as far as that goes. So I've removed that. Just understand whenever you get started that this is not something that will happen overnight as far as getting indexed in the organic traffic here, unless we can get some high quality backlinks and things like that, which I can advise on. But there's just some work that has to be done. It's not a thing. There's not a shortcut where you can just go out and do this thing and people will just come. There has to be a strategy in place, and what I'm doing is essentially providing you with the tools to take control of your own lead generation efforts versus having to pay and rely financially on somebody to go and do that stuff for you. So that's what ifunnel does for you, and that's how you pick between the packages. And then the other thing is what can you expect after you get signed up. So the projects are managed on Trello. And so right now within a week to 2 weeks, I can get started on projects, and essentially everything gets added based on the context of the site, specifications, which I learn about through our discussion and also through the form on ifunnel. So basically when you go to the site, you click get started, it'll open up my type form here. And essentially whenever you answer the questions here, you're going to tell me a little bit more about your situation, and through that and with our meeting, I'll get a full scope of a project. So it'll get done on Trello here. As things get done and as things are kind of happening, they get moved over, but you get to kind of track and see where things are at. Depending on the level of the project, between 2 and 4 week delivery time, and that will range, but essentially somewhere in that kind of area is what you can expect. On the website and whatnot, you're going to get landing pages that look something like this. They're all different though. They're custom built. There's not really they're based on a template, but everything's drag and drop and move it around. So it's not like, everything can just be kind of moved around. But it's not like everything will have the same pictures and whatnot, because that doesn't work for SEO. I go through and find custom pictures, upload custom content. I set up your tags the right way and get everything set up. So then I go on Typeform and I get your Typeform set up. Now the thing about Typeform and FlowXO is if you were to get the same subscription for Typeform that I have, it would be $1,200 a month or a year for you to have that subscription. And so essentially that's with having to try to figure out how to make the forms yourself, which is just this kind of conversational, you use logic jumps to jump, depending on how you ask a question and what the possible answers are. You take that information and jump to other logical places. But you would end up paying somebody a lot more just to make the forms. I'm basically providing you with this kind of comprehensive way of bringing everything together into one package where I can customize the forms for you and roll on the website if you need that. and the forms and the chatbots. Now, not all of my clients have needed websites. Some people have websites, they just need the conversational form. So this provides a means of me being able to deliver that to you. So once we get Trello set up, we just kind of go through the process of getting everything done. We get your form set up, website, your chatbot, all your SEO stuff, your local SEO, and your mortgage calculators, etc., pictures of your team, getting your local SEO set up, basically just everything based on how it's described on the ifunnel.app/options page. So hopefully that gives a little bit more context to this. It's not really it's your system that I set up for you, so it's not really a thing where it's like I've been doing this for over the last year, but I've kind of transitioned into this space where I'm providing mortgage companies with the resources they need to generate their own leads versus making myself a necessary piece of it. I'm just essentially using the proven methods and resources that I have to do this and packaging them together in a way that makes sense for mortgage companies to be able to use in-house. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you're just getting started, just go to ifunnel.app/options and just click the Get Started button and answer the questions there. And then at the end, you'll be able to schedule a meeting. And if you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below if you're on YouTube. And I look forward to working with you, and we'll talk